Oh boy.
Color Out of Space.
That movie impacted me in a way that I just haven't felt from watching a movie almost ever.
Yeah, for sure.
Literally, like, we took almost an hour to decompress after watching that, and we never do that. For the listeners' own knowledge, we typically get right in the studio after we watch.
Always.
Within 10 minutes and jump on the mics.
Yeah.
I needed to, like, get my head straight before firing these mics up.
We had to have a serious conversation. Like, an in-depth conversation.
We just talked about, like, the cosmos, the scale, the temperature of our universe, philosophy, God, horror, morality, like big conceptual ideas.
Yeah.
And to be fair, none of these are directly addressed in the movie.
No.
But horror on that level, the body horror, the universal scale of the threat, like the incongruity of the different type of a life form with an anthropological life form, like these things trigger conceptual ideas, like in me, that once I start thinking of them, I can't escape until I've like wrestled through them.
For sure, it was non-optional.
Yeah,
like it was very forceful the way that the movie makes you broach these topics in your mind. You know, you have to think about it because it's not just something you can blow off. If you're paying attention to that movie, you are in it.
Yeah, it's gonna pull you into the well.
Oh my god, yeah, locked in with pink tentacles, baby.
Oh my god, your trees are gonna whip their branches out and cut your head off and fuse you into your own sun. We should probably talk about what this movie is about.
Yeah.
Before we confuse the listeners anymore.
No shit. Welcome to Booty Whiskey.
The Booty Whiskey. I'm your host, Patch William, aka Severely Disgusted Man. I was driven to drink by this film. I'm contemplating the meaninglessness and isolated nature of life on Earth after watching Color Out of Space.
Wow.
Who are you?
I'm co-host Austin Jenny. I'm just a little, multicolored pink slime. And I'm gonna get you, okay?
And by the end of this episode, we are gonna fuse together.
We will become one.
Yeah, we will actually be using only one mic.
One brain.
Because when you only have one mouth, why do you need two mics?
I'm just gonna be a little tumor hanging off your back.
Back tumor, boys.
I'll turn back into a baby, and I'll be just sitting there with my arms and legs, and like,
yeah, I'll just redigest you, and then I'll try to eat my other babies. This movie was horrifying.
Hungry. Yeah, agreed.
And I said this after the movie. It is way more of a real horror movie than something like Halloween with Michael Myers or Freddy Krueger or Jason, like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Those are scary movies.
Sure.
But they're not horrifying on a level like this. It's not even about fear.
No.
Like, jump scares are one thing. This is the kind of, like, a gut-wrenching conceptual stuff that makes you afraid philosophically.
The existential dread that it brings to light. You know? It brings me to just like, man, we are just so small and pointless.
H.P. Lovecraft is a fucked up individual.
What the hell? 100 years ago and you're thinking about this?
Every other scientist and writer is thinking of, like, sci-fi as this grand adventure to the stars.
We'll all be perfect out there together.
Yeah, Jules Verne is writing, like, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea about, like, exploring the deeps and fighting squids that are a little bigger than normal. And, like, this guy is reimagining, like, the framework of organic life.
Yeah.
And, like, horrified by the implications of, like, what could happen if our planet ever intersects with, like, another non-anthropological, like, non-carbon based life form, like some fucking radio frequency that just swallows you up.
Yeah,
like,
it can breed in the mind of people around you. Yeah, I just, okay, so here's one thing. Do you think it'd be silly to try and describe what this being is before we get into the plot? Should we go plot first?
Let's start with the plot. It's easier.
Yeah, for sure.
It's easier.
I just want to talk about that tornado, bro.
Okay, before we go any further, let's get through the movie stuff
Yeah,
and then talk philosophy.
100%.
Okay. We're gonna knock out a plot synopsis
Yes.
for you.
What happened in this movie?
1. We open on an eerie forest with a narrator talking about a haunted, ancient, secret magic in the woods.
Yeah, witches and shit.
Yeah, dark, evil forces.
Yeah.
And it's just video of spooky trees and
Yeah,
shit like
with
that.
some really cool effects on them too.
Yeah, and we actually had to rewind the first scene and turn subtitles on because the sound design of this movie was so distractingly good.
Yeah,
And as a music producer, audio engineer, like the first 2 minutes of this movie, I didn't hear a word of the narration because the soundtracking was so fucking cool.
yeah. I mean, just the random like bits of noise that would kind of like slide through. It was so weird. I loved it.
Yeah, it was like alien and natural, like birds and weird radio sounds and
Yeah, like weird synths going up with the birds, like matching up. It was so strange.
really trippy, very well done. Shout out to Spectre Vision. They produced Mandy. They produced this. Those guys really have this like ambient, atmospheric horror vibe down.
Big time, for sure. And you can just tell they care about these movies too. So much love went into the making of this and Mandy.
Yeah, Spectre Vision is dope.
Yeah, I love them.
We go from the narration of the evil woods, the dark secret, to a little idyllic scene. There's a horse, there's a girl, there's a river, and the girl is wearing a cloak.
Yeah.
She's in a rock circle,
Yeah, she's doing a ritual.
and you realize she's like a witch.
Yeah.
She's like a teenage girl. She's wearing all sorts of like symbolic jewelry. And she's doing a ritual to like 4 deities. She says like Raphael, Gabriel,
Yeah, they're all biblical deities, aren't
Michael.
they? And Uriel.
They all end in L.
Yeah.
She's doing this ritual to, I think, to save her mom's life because her mom has cancer.
I think that was the point of all that.
She says like, save my mom or spare her from like any more cancer, like rid her of the cancer. So she's making some sort of like a ritualistic bargain
Yeah.
with unknown biblical deities,
Homie, stop.
which is always scary.
Yeah. No shit.
She gets interrupted by a young man who is a hydrologist, and he's scouting the area, like surveying the water table.
Yeah.
Because he's been assigned by the mayor to do so.
Yeah, they're going to put they're going to put a dam in to create a giant reservoir.
Yeah,
of
and it's
fresh
like the
water.
largest infrastructure job in what state are they in? Like New Hampshire, like Maine.
Something like that, man.
It's a northeast for sure.
Definitely. But like rural northeast for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, deep in the woods. He's surveying the land, and she's like, "You interrupted my ritual." Thanks. But she thinks he's kind of cute, and it's like, a couple little comments, and then she rides away on her horse.
Yeah.
And that's sort of it. Then we get a long sequence of like introducing the family. Nick Cage is the dad. There's a mom. There's a brother, and then even a younger brother.
Yeah.
There's a pet dog and
Sam.
like 5 alpacas.
Yes, there is.
And
Just normal, fun alpacas.
The animal of the future.
Dude. The Mayans had it right, actually.
I love the inclusion of alpacas. It's just so whimsical and funny, man.
Yeah. Yeah. And just
really,
it's kind of a foreign animal. Not many people are really, familiar with alpacas, I feel like.
it creates a strange sense of uneasiness or like unfamiliarity on the property. They have a sprawling estate.
Yeah. Loaded.
Obviously, the girl has a horse, her own horse. They have a stable. They've got a wine cellar. They've got their own well.
Yeah.
So
We find out it's old money, though.
yeah, they inherited it from the dad's dad. So grandpa died and left them this estate. But also, they're not like slouches themselves. The wife is a financial advisor. She's doing like stock trading and working with clients. She's got some sort of ratio. So she's like very smart with money, and that's sort of how they are making ends meet, is through her.
Yeah.
And she has cancer. So
yes,
that introduces a little bit of uneasiness.
Yeah, it's like the first bit of tension, really.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She's talking about how she can't believe he finds her attractive anymore. She alludes to having had a mastectomy.
Yeah, definitely.
She's like, if my legs were cut off, would you still want me? He's like, yeah, I could put you in my suitcase and have you whenever I want. She's like, that is kinky.
It is. Good for him. Good for them.
The family is sort of like, I would say, a well done family dynamic.
Yeah.
Usually in movies, there's like heightened conflict where like the teenage daughter is too hormonal and always yelling, and then the brother is like such a dickhead.
Yeah.
And the parents don't communicate.
Don't care about the kid. No,
Or they try too hard to communicate.
Yeah,
and
helicopter. Yeah.
This was just like a pretty well done family, in my opinion.
It seemed really like genuinely pretty nice and happy before the events.
Yeah. Like they do have conflicts. They're arguing about things, but like by the end of dinner, they're just like laughing and joking. It's felt like a real family. Like this is how you would sort of cohabitate with your annoying brother, or like
for sure
you still love him. You love him more than you hate him. It's not like this false sense of like Hollywood drama.
Yeah, exactly.
It felt very grounded and real. And they all go to sleep, and a fucking meteorite just like crashes into their front lawn.
Yeah.
And it comes with a lot of like tremors, like the earth is shaking. Colors, it's like this eerie ultraviolet sort of pink.
Yeah, it's so pink purple. It's such a overwhelming color, and also such a foreign color. You know, like it's not normal blues, greens, and whites and stuff that we see on a daily basis.
Like
Brown.
Occasionally you might see a jungle flower that's that color, but they're
or
like
a bird or something.
It's gonna stand out on purpose. That's like the point of that color. Is it's like relatively rare, very bright. It's jarring,
but it envelops the entire landscape, like the whole area. Anywhere where light can be visibly shown through onto another area, it is enveloping it. It is crazy.
That reminds me, I want to give major props to the filmmakers for their lighting work in this movie.
The whole time.
So good.
So good.
It was always sort of like partially lit, partially dark. There's a lot of like contrasting.
The shifting, you know, because of the camera movement, but also the light movement itself.
A lot of stark lighting sources behind dark rooms, creating lots of shadows and feelings of uneasiness. Brightness, silhouetting, like just, and then the use of color amidst that light, and using like fog and mist to create like color and atmosphere. It was just so beautiful. I mentioned it while we were watching to you. These Spectre Vision movies with Mandy and this one now, they really understand that movies are a visual art form, and they are focused on the art side of it as well.
Definitely.
It's not just a storytelling medium. It needs to look good.
Yeah, I mean, from the first scene, you get that stark trees just, you know, kind of like waving, shimmering with the music, everything. It is meant to be good to look at.
It's a movie that you could turn the sound off and play like...
that'd be confusing.
I've done that with a few movies where like you get really stoned and you put a movie on in the background, and then you're doing something else in the room with like in a social setting.
Of course.
This would be a good one for that, assuming that you can tolerate body horror.
Yeah. You got to know the people you're hanging out with.
It gets dark, visceral.
Seriously.
Like
disgusting.
Slimy.
Yeah. So yeah, when the meteorite hits, though, a couple things do happen to the family. A couple weird little signifiers. First off, the dad and mom are trying to having sex in the middle of it, kind of up in the top floor while this is happening. But you got the three siblings. I can't remember what happens to the girl.
She's just sleeping, and she's like holding her arms on her, like a vampire.
Yeah, and her
on
eyes
her
are like
shoulders.
really active under her eyelids. Too.
Yeah, it looks like she's having a nightmare.
Yeah.
I think the brother's also sleeping. Like they're or he's on his computer.
Yeah, no, the brother's on his computer, but that's when like all the weird frequency shit and stuff is interfering with his computer, and it turns into like that deep purple screen for a sec, and you can there's a scene of him just sitting there, eyes open, just drooling, looking right at it, and then you got the little kid,
the little brother. He's very young, like maybe 6 years old, 7 years
6,
old,
7, something like that.
Old enough that he can like run around and talk. But
yeah, for sure.
Young enough that he's not capable of like handling anything on his own.
No.
He is distracted by the dog because I think the family dog like alerts him to something weird going on and like draws him into the hallway.
Yeah, gets him out of bed.
And then the pink light like sort of catches his eyes through the window and basically paralyzes him. Yeah. And he's sitting cross-legged on the floor in the hallway, and the camera like zooms into his face and like all these weird visual effects start triggering, and like
so trippy.
It's like an acid melt on a film strip, like burning through his face
with the pink and purple behind all of it.
He's glowing, and like the sound is swelling. And then you're just like in the living room. The family is like trying to figure out what happened to their little boy. He's the biggest priority because everyone else feels pretty much fine.
Yeah.
But he's not saying anything. He's like silent and stunned.
They even actually go see the meteorite outside first before he actually even says anything in that living room.
Yeah.
Yeah, they walk out there and it's just glowing purple rock.
There's a crater in their front lawn and a pink glowing meteor in a hole. Eventually, the boy does speak. He sort of snaps out of it. And the family doesn't really have any recourse to any of this.
So weird. The immediate tonal shift of the whole dynamic in their family is just on its side.
Yeah, because right away, the mom is trying to solve all the problems, but she doesn't actually have any real solutions. She's just like worrying about it more than the dad. And the dad's like, well, let's just put him to bed. And she's like, alludes to the idea that maybe he didn't take her cancer serious enough, like when she was getting sick.
Yeah.
And like, oh, we're just going to pretend it's okay again. And like, he's like, well, what other options do I have in this scenario?
Yeah. And then he pours a drink even.
Yeah, he goes to the brandy.
Like, of course you would do that.
Yeah.
It's like, damn, dude, that was just so different from what we just were seeing.
Yeah. Everyone's on edge. But they don't, like, realistically, they don't have anything that they're capable of doing.
Yeah.
They don't know that there's a problem per se. All they know is some weird shit just happened. There's a meteor in their lawn.
Yeah.
They don't have a way of dealing with the meteor.
No.
So they just like go to sleep and they call the city the next day. And the mayor comes, the sheriff comes, that hydrologist returns.
Yeah.
Because he is tasked by the mayor in the area he's around. So she calls him. He's a scientist. And everyone's sort of just like trying to figure out what it is. But the mayor's not taking it very serious.
She's a bitch.
She's a total bitch. She references the fact that she wanted to buy the property when his dad died, but he didn't. She's like, you should have sold this place to me when you had the chance. So
yeah,
you get a very clear sense that the mayor is not going to be helpful because she actually has sort of a petty vendetta against this guy.
For sure, right from the start.
She wants his land.
Give me your land.
When your mayor wants your land, you know you're going to have a bad time.
For sure. That's a terrible situation.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember what happens next.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like the slow development of weird occurrences, you know? You have the flowers, you have the weird shit in the well, we see the egg.
Okay, here's a big event that occurs.
Oh, the storm.
A huge storm rolls in, and you see the meteorite get struck like 20 times consecutively by lightning. Yeah. Purple lightning, like swelling out of the sky. It's very ominous.
Seriously.
This thing is like charging up because it's glowing brighter and brighter in its crater, like an incubating egg of energy.
Yeah.
It's getting charged up by the atmosphere. And it's real spooky. And then the next morning, it's gone.
Yeah. Oh, that's not good.
And they're like, I don't know what could move something like this.
No.
It's like, guess what? It moved itself. It's in your water table.
Yeah, no shit, dude.
The hydrologist does a test on a local water supply, and his little like pH acid strip thing that's supposed to go from like brown to red
Yeah.
goes from brown or like yellow, orange, red, purple, pink,
Iridescent pink.
bright pink, like white, and like almost like burns.
Yeah.
It's like searing hot, like ultraviolet response. And he's just looking at it shocked. He's like,
Probably shouldn't be drinking this.
yeah, he makes the rounds to like every character. He goes to the squatter that's on their property named Ezra, played by Tommy Chong.
Let's go. Great performance, by the way.
Incredible casting choice.
Yeah, seriously. I didn't think that he had that in him.
So there's a squatter that the family sort of just like knows and tolerates,
Yeah.
named Ezra. He lives in a shack, which is supplied power by solar panels that he built himself. He's like an old electrical engineer.
Yeah.
He's got cameras up. He's got radio equipment.
Also, clearly a hippie who does way too many mushrooms.
Yeah, dude. The shit that he's saying.
Yeah.
He's got a cat named G-Spot. The brother's like, it's awesome. It's a pussy named G-Spot.
I was so distracted by the movie that didn't even faze me. I was just like, yeah, G-Spot, the cat.
Yeah, of course the cat's named G-Spot. Move on, please. More purple, please.
Yeah, right. Give me the colors, dude.
Shit's wild.
Uh-oh.
But the hydrologist makes the rounds. He goes to Ezra's, he goes to the family, and he's telling everyone, he's like, I really don't think you should be drinking this water.
Yeah.
I'm going to send this sample to the lab. I don't know what's happening, but it's contaminated with something.
Nobody fucking cares.
Yeah, everyone sort of just like hand waves him away. And,
Yeah, literally.
you know,
Even the
Tommy
family.
Chong is still brewing his Java. You want some Java,
What a Java, man.
With his coffee or with his poisoned water.
Yeah, you can see it looks brackish.
Yeah.
Literally, there's a film of oil on the
like
top
red,
of it.
dude.
Yeah. Ugh. Ugh. No, thank you.
Weird stuff starts happening.
Yeah, man. It's just like, yeah, like I said, the breakdown of...
It's possessing people's minds. Like the
Yeah.
wife is cutting carrots and she zones out and then cuts two of her fucking fingers all the way off, like at
Yeah.
the second joint.
Yeah.
Full finger removal.
While her little fucking, like, 7-year-old kid is standing there asking, like, Mommy? And she's...
Blood sprays on this kid's face. She doesn't react and he goes, Dad, Mom's hurt.
Yeah.
And she turns around. She's like, dinner's ready, holding up her fingers as they're like spraying blood. Like, okay, this woman is deteriorating fast.
Really fast.
They go to the hospital. So mom and dad are out of the picture. They're going to the ER to get her fingers like repaired. The kids are all left at home. Big bro's in charge.
Yeah.
More weird shit happens.
Yeah.
I think the brother goes out to put the alpacas away and gets like lost in time.
Yeah, lost in the dark in a field outside.
When he comes back, he says that he was in broad daylight and then just like came to consciousness and it was dark and he lost all that time.
Yeah. And it shows you putting away the it shows him putting away the alpacas.
Yeah.
2 separate times, and he goes to do it a third time,
And
that's
they're
when his
always
dad comes
out. He keeps like scratching his head. He's like, I put the alpacas away and they're out. And dad told him to put them away. And when he comes back, they're out. And he's like, I thought I told you to put these alpacas away. And then dad's acting fucking weird and angry.
Yeah, and that's like after they get home. But yeah, a couple other weird things happen while the parents are at the hospital. What happened to... Oh, the kid, Jack, the like 6-year-old, sits and stares at the well for probably like 14 hours.
He's like, I'm talking to my friends. And the well is whistling.
Yeah, and he's
it's
whistling
like a dog
back.
whistle sound.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he whistles back and he says he can talk to the person in the well.
Yeah.
And the girl is like having puking sessions and she's like staring at the kitchen sink and
She's got to
the
clean that
water
blood.
turns into blood.
I think that was just blood from her fingers. From the mom's fingers. I think
Well,
he was cleaning that up.
We don't know what level of all
Yeah.
of these events are
True.
psychological
True,
or
yeah,
real.
yeah.
But she's standing at the sink, spaces out, it starts overflowing with water, and then the water turns red into blood.
Yeah.
And it's pouring out on the kitchen. And she's like, there's a big shot of her feet like wading in it.
Yeah, we never see that again, so I guess it probably was just psychological, huh?
Yeah. And you got to wonder, like, with these types of stories, how much of it is real and how much of it is psychosis.
Yeah, what's reliable at all?
Yeah. Is it just this crazy hydrologist, like, recounting his own psychosis? And none of these people ever existed? Like, you just
Yeah,
never know what
of course.
layer you're at when it comes to, like, psychological instability. But nonetheless,
Yeah,
we take each scene by each scene.
exactly.
And parents get home after each kid has an uncanny experience.
Well, we also see the egg during that spot.
Ooh, and it releases something.
Yep, it does.
So the meteorite, we believe, is like an egg. And it was charging up by the lightning strikes, and it relocates itself to the bottom of their well.
Yeah, attaches itself to the wall and starts like doing weird little trippy fucking
Yeah.
things.
And that's what's like contaminating the water. It's like sitting in the water of the well, and it releases like a praying mantis with like a scorpion's tail,
Yeah, some sort of chimera like fucking.
and it's a
bug
very
thing.
large bug,
Oh yeah, like
7 inches
like
long,
a bird.
Yeah,
It's like the size of like a robin or something.
Yeah.
You know, like a bluebird or something.
and it's bright pink.
Oh yeah,
It
And
looks
it-
toxic.
it looks horrifying. It has these weird little pink small tentacles coming out of its
Yeah,
mantis
like
mouth.
8 slimy tongues.
Yeah, dude.
It comes up out of the well and just flies away.
Yeah.
All around the well are like these weird alien flowers growing, and all of like the trees are starting to grow pink flowers.
Yeah.
Eventually, like all the grass turns pink. Everything by the end of this movie is like pink and purple.
Yep.
Like it's being contaminated.
I mean, and we can get into that later more if we want to, but that really ties into the annihilation side of all this.
Yeah. I want to mention how many other movies that I love that this reminds me of and like
For
pulls
sure.
from.
For sure.
Annihilation. If no one has seen Annihilation, you guys need to stop listening and go check it out.
100% agree.
We'll watch it eventually for this podcast, I'm sure. But
God, that's such a good movie.
basically, Annihilation, some sort of like alien artifact or meteor like hits Earth and creates like an epicenter where it starts releasing like through radiation. It starts like changing the genetics of all of the life in its sort of area of impact.
Yeah, splicing them together and back apart and all this
All
crazy
the
shit.
colors are tripping out. Like
Yeah.
genes are blending together. Time is bending. People are having weird hallucinations.
The shimmer.
They keep sending scientist teams in and they never come back and they
Yeah.
can't communicate once they're in past like this area of influence.
Mm-hmm.
So this was like sort of an anti-annihilation where you're actually seeing the beginning
Yeah.
from the inside, from the epicenter.
Yeah.
You're not on the outsides going in. We're seeing ground zero of something like that. I thought that was very cool.
Super interesting take.
Let's see. Other movies that this reminded me of, I'm just going to list them off. Signs,
Yeah.
which was a much less horrifying movie,
Yeah, no
but
kidding.
it's sort of Signs-esque in that it's like a family on a rural property, and then an unknown alien force starts affecting their lives, and they have to like try to come together to win against it.
For sure. And the feeling is so much more ominous.
Yeah. But beyond the sci-fi stuff, you get a lot of horror influences in here.
Definitely.
This thing is like haunting their family. It gave me feelings of like The Shining, with like
Yeah.
the parents starting to go crazy, questioning their reality, like threatening the kids.
Especially Nick Cage.
Yeah, I did not see it coming, but Nick Cage, the dad, ends up becoming like something of the villain of
Yeah.
the movie. Like at least the human antagonist of the movie. Obviously, this alien is the proper villain.
Yeah.
But insofar as the alien is sort of like not personifiable, you have to represent that villainy like through human characters. And Nick Cage is like the personification of its evil
Yeah.
at a certain point. His mind is breaking down.
So fast, too.
You get influences from like Resident Evil with like the sort of like, I mean, we haven't revealed the Chimera incident
Yeah.
yet,
Yeah.
but there's some body horror, some like gore, weird creature horror. that just reminded me of some of the shit you see in Resident Evil movies.
Yeah.
Evil Dead, they actually have a Necronomicon in one of the scenes because the daughter's into Wiccan witchcraft.
Yeah.
And she has a Necronomicon and she's doing spells in her room with it. She does this whole blood ritual after the alien comes. She's cutting herself.
Yeah.
She's carving pentagrams and like satanic stars into her arms and chest. She carves this symbol into her forehead.
Yeah.
She's like bleeding intentionally onto like symbols on the Necronomicon, trying to do this like blood magic to gain protection from this alien.
That's some fuck shit, dude.
Yeah. Inked in human blood, bound in human flesh. The Necronomicon. Very Evil Dead-esque in the sense that also the force is like invisible. It's in the woods. It's in the trees. You're stuck in this ominous cabin. It's coming for you. And then I also got senses of just straight up like poltergeist.
Yeah, just the supernatural aspect
It's
of
like a haunting. Like
Yeah.
the house is haunted. The faucets are the TVs are acting up.
I mean, it's literally every aspect of their life.
Anything that has power, electrical current, is like turning on and off,
Yeah.
failing when they need it. The TV is all static. The cell phones are garbled and unintelligible.
Well, yeah, we kind of talked about it earlier, but yeah, it's not even necessarily power; it's just energy.
Yeah.
You know, it's all encompassing: life, light, energy, everything.
Yeah.
Time, space, dude. It's so crazy.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's so much I need to get into on that. We're going to shelve it to the back half of this episode. But yeah, dude, just the concept of like a non-anthropomorphic life form and like the ways it can manifest its energy through like audio, visual mediums, like in the water, in the air.
Absolutely. Through any one of our senses, really, you know?
Oh, it's like confusing and complex and very intriguing, and it makes you think about life and the universe and
Most
the
definitely.
cosmos.
Cosmos.
Damn you, Lovecraft!
Oh.
So, let's talk about the Chimera incident.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, the parents are home. Oh, Christ. As the kid, Jack, is out there.
The young kid.
The young kid, yeah, the tiny one. And for some reason, you know, there's a bunch of shit going on all over the place. Shit's melting down.
The alpacas are bleating
Yes.
aggressively,
Very loudly.
making terrifying sounds that
Yeah.
attract the kid.
Yeah. Mom.
The older brother goes in with the
yeah.
kid. The mom sees the two boys going into the barn, runs out. The boys get shocked by what they see in there,
Yeah.
and then the light shoots out of the
Yeah, it's
barn.
become like a physical thing that reaches out.
It has like tentacles, and it's
Yeah.
like chasing them. And the mom grabs the young boy
Yeah.
and sort of blocks the light with her body while holding the boy. And they
Yeah.
get like essentially like radiation burns, and they get like charged up by this thing, like electrified.
Yeah.
And you don't immediately get to see like the results of what happened.
They make you
but
wait and just hear it.
Basically, like the son and the mother's bodies have fused together, and their flesh is like slightly melted. They're like slimy. There's these sort of crevices in their bodies that are like emanating pink light.
Yeah, and then like juts of bone coming out in certain places.
Like fissures
yeah.
where there's like light, and they're all mutated and fucked up.
Yeah.
The boy's face is like coming out of her shoulder,
Yeah.
like on the back, and they're both crying. Like she can't speak, and the boy's voice is like a toddler's voice. Like
It
it's
seems like he's de-aging.
yeah,
You know?
he's crying like an infant child.
Yeah. It was fucking horrible to look at.
It's dark,
Horrible.
dude. And this is what I meant earlier. If anyone was wondering, like, this is horror.
Yeah.
This is horror, not terror. Like Michael Myers is terrifying for some. Texas Chainsaw Massacre is terrifying.
Yeah.
This is horrifying.
Yeah.
There's a disgust element involved.
So uneasy, truly on the edge of my seat. Like, I also couldn't really look away because I needed to see it, you know?
Yeah.
Ugh. Ugh. Yeah.
So mom and son become a disgusting chimera
Yeah.
of like pink transformed demon energy.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, all 5 of the alpacas, the same thing happened to them. It was a big pile of alpaca bodies with 5 heads coming out of it.
Yeah.
And they're all just like agonizingly yelling.
Yeah. So dad decides to go put them out of their misery.
Yeah, shotgun time.
Yeah, thank God.
It was literally like right after we looked at each other and I was like, can he just please get a shotgun?
Yeah, he did.
I literally
He
said
really
that.
did do it, too.
And the next scene, he goes to his gun cabinet. He's like, you leave my family alone. And he's loading up his double barrel shotty.
Yes.
Another callback to Evil Dead.
Yes.
Loved that. He goes and puts down all the alpacas, comes back in with blood on his face.
Yeah.
Mom, oh my God.
At this point, she looks real fucked up.
She is lapping water up out of a dog bowl with her tongue,
Yeah.
being fed by the daughter like a fucking mutated pet.
And thinking about that now, it's probably because, you know, we know the dog was assimilated, so she was probably just enacting through that. That's what I was kind of thinking.
Yeah, so we have a theory sort of that it's a hive mind-esque situation where these things are all being absorbed by this energy source and like blending consciousnesses and sharing memories and personalities.
Everything.
You see this happen to a few like wild animals as well. There's like rabbits and deer that get fused together and they're like running and get found by the sheriff.
Man. It's so unsettling, dude.
But yeah, the dog's consciousness was probably trapped in there. The boy, the mom, a bunch of like alpacas and animals.
The cat, G-Spot.
G-Spot. You see G-Spot like running around at one point while they're driving, and he's got no fur. He's slimy. He's got glowing eyes, and huge fangs. At some point, like, the trees themselves become alive. And, well, trees are alive, but, like, they become absorbed and, like, sentient. And, like, mobile.
Yeah.
And it, like, reaches out a branch and, like, grabs the sheriff with its tentacle arm.
I know. And while it's grabbing, it looks like the individual, like, branch, like, morphs into more of a tentacle and then, like comes back.
Arm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it, like, compresses him into its bark and, like, strangles him and crushes him.
Probably just absorbs him.
God. There's a really cool scene where the hydrologist and the sheriff, they've finally, like, sort of come onto the scene. And they're trying to help the family.
Thank God, dude. We need a hero.
We need a hero. Yeah, so much of this movie is spent, like, with no pathway forward for the family. Like,
just devolve.
Yeah, it's just getting worse and then worse. And then the next scene is worse. And the film is like toying with you. It's like, what are we going to do next?
Yeah.
But finally you get like a hero character on the scene.
Hydrologist and the sheriff.
They go over to Ezra's cabin and he has become absorbed, but like his body is like mummified sitting in his chair.
Yeah.
But his consciousness has somehow transferred itself into his technology because he has all this radio equipment and like a magnetic film roll thing that he was like recording sounds with, and it is speaking to them through electronic signals.
Some demonic fucking shit too.
Yeah. So you know when like you're playing a vinyl or a tape and it gets warped or slows down, you speed it up and it gets higher pitch. That's happening to his voice as he's speaking to them. And he's like, it takes everything and it can find you and all life is destroyed.
And like under that voice is another deeper, more guttural voice too.
It's a demon's voice.
It literally is. Like there's no other way to describe that. That was a demon.
And it's speaking to them through like a cassette player.
Well, the guy's body just sits there, mummified.
It can like detect their presence and tries to kill them by literally like turning his body into a bomb.
Yeah,
like a light
of
bomb.
color and
Yeah.
juice.
He starts charging up and like glowing.
Behind his forehead.
Yeah, it's like, they're like, get out of here. And like his whole cabin explodes. That's when the tree grabs the sheriff, too.
But before that, I guess the mom body Chimera.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, they go up there because the dad had locked the girl. Oh, fuck, even more happened.
We got to even go back.
Yeah. So Benny, the middle child, or like the old brother, right? He and the sister are, what are they doing? I think
They're watching over the mom.
Yeah. Yeah. But then they go
and
down.
the dad has just come back from putting down all the alpacas.
Yeah.
And he's holding the shotgun.
Yeah.
And he's like, I need you guys to get out of here.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
And they're like, what are you going to do? He's like, I'm going to handle it. And
so
you can tell that they're like, they understand.
No, for sure.
Like the brother's like, okay.
Yeah.
And
Crying a little.
And then the daughter's like, I love you, Dad. He's like, I love you too. And they leave.
Yeah.
So everyone agrees, like morally, we need to mercy kill mom.
For sure.
Our little brother. Like these people are not,
it's not
our
people.
parents.
No.
And I want to get back to that a little later when we get to
Yeah.
the philosophy side of it and with like the disgust with dehumanization and othering people and what that allows in terms of atrocity. But they are looking at what used to be their mom and their little brother.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, you need to put a bullet in their heads.
Yeah. I mean, because it looks bad.
It is rough.
It is really not good to look at.
Yeah.
But yeah, they go outside, and at that time, that's when the boy falls into the well, right?
He voluntarily climbs into the well because he thinks he hears the dog in the well.
Oh.
And he gets exploded with light.
Yes, he does. And immediately the father comes out. Oh, and so the dad, while this kid is trying to get his dog and falling into the well and all this light shit is happening, the dad is like talking to the mom, Chimera, and he's like going to kill it. He's gonna do it. He's had his sights on it. The gun was like up to her, and then he's like,
but instead,
he goes in for a little kiss. He wants to kiss her goodbye.
A sloppy kiss with like gross residue,
purple, like stringy tendrils lift
like
with each
goo.
kiss. And immediately after that first kiss, he's like, goes in for another, and then another, and then he gets up.
He's like, families stick together.
Yeah.
Also, can we talk about Nick Cage's performance during this whole sequence?
Stellar.
The Cage levels are through the roof, and I couldn't be more here for it.
No, I mean, it's just also appropriate Cage level, too.
He's going crazy.
Crazy.
The way devolving.
The voice, dude. The voices he does.
Yes. Okay, we do need to pull up some of those clips.
We definitely
should. I do that right now?
Yeah. Yeah.
While we're on it.
Yeah, for sure. I can't even think of what he said, dude. Just the way he's saying.
When he picks those tomatoes and then they taste like shit, he's like, I did everything right. They still taste like shit. And he's freaking out. He's like throwing the tomatoes one by one in the trash. He's like, slam dunk. Boom. He's like throwing it away.
And you're out. And slam dunk.
It is hilarious, man. Nick Cage, he's an Oscar winner, right?
Yep.
Let's give him another one.
I agree. We should give him like 6 more.
He should get a legacy award.
That's what's up.
Yeah. They should take Macklemore's Grammy and give it to Nick Cage.
Oh my God. Yes, please, dude.
Get a lot of milk from alpaca. It takes great patience, technique.
He's milking his
And of course,
alpacas.
you have to be very gentle with the boobs. Where's Sam?
They must have got him.
They? What the fuck are you talking about?
They, them, it, that thing that has been fucking this place up. I mean, come on, Dad, don't pretend that you haven't noticed.
Nothing has been fucking this place up.
Oh, you're so in denial.
Okay, you know, I've had it with your drama, Lavinia. So do me a favor and get the fuck out of my sight. No, actually, I'll save you the trouble and get the fuck out of yours.
Oh my God. He's really channeling his Quentin Tarantino.
For sure.
With like the hands too.
Are you okay?
No, I just blew up Lavinia. I don't think I'll be winning any Father of the Year awards. I've been smelling it ever since the night that thing hit the farm.
It's like the black mold in the basement coming
It's
out.
exactly the same smell as the cancer ward where my father was. You know, death,
kinda
disinfectant.
Trumpy.
The cancer smell, rotting
Little
milk.
bit.
You know the smell. You know the cancer smell better than anybody. Now the dog is
I know
there,
the
so
smell
fix
better
it.
than anybody.
Connect those dots.
Now the spray to remind you. It's easy to forget, so try setting a timer.
Oh yeah, his arms, they turn all purple and gross.
Dude, yeah, the nasty ass rash. Those weird overblown tomatoes.
His tomatoes are massive because they're part of this like pink tomato plant colony.
Just look at you beauties. And a month early.
That's not good.
Peaches!
Nate,
He's biting each tomato and spitting it out in disgust
are you
right now.
listening to me?
You know, I did everything I was supposed to do. I followed every fucking rule in the book. In the end, they still fucking taste like shit. You know what? Fuck that. Okay, coming up. You know what? Okay,
Stop it! Stop!
slam dunk.
You fucking cocksucker! You cocksucker! You cocksucker! Ah, 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 ah,
Oh my god. That's because the car wouldn't start.
Yeah. That's a lot.
That's probably enough.
That's a high cage level, my guy.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
a high level. It's like maybe a 5.
Yeah, no shit.
The like vocal choices. I did everything I was supposed to do.
Dude.
Coming up. It's like slam dunking the tomatoes into the trash can.
Huh.
Lavinia.
Lavinia.
Amazing performance.
Very good. All the acting was great in this movie. So yeah, we should get on to this plot.
Okay, we're almost done
Yeah, I
with the
know.
plot, to be honest.
Yeah.
Basically,
Crazy ending.
I mean, spoilers, everybody dies except for the hydrologist.
Yeah, our narrator.
Our narrator, who, I guess it's safe to presume he wasn't going to die because he's narrating the story from the first place. Unless the twist would have been that he was like somehow narrating from the void of this thing, like this omni consciousness. But anyways, like it all comes to a head. The dad tries to feed the girl to the Chimera mom.
Yeah.
The sheriff and the hydrologist kick in the door. They rescue her. They shoot the dad. The boy is dead.
Yeah.
The girl refuses to come with them because she lives here. She's staying.
She's just weird
Turns
vibes.
out, okay, she's possessed.
For sure.
Ezra's possessed. The sheriff gets bagged. It's only the hydrologist left. And he's like face to face with the girl.
Yeah, right in front of the well.
And she's got all these like carvings on her face from her ritual.
Yeah, it's all occult shit, weird little...
And they start like glowing pink. Her eyes are pink. Yeah. And then his eyes start turning pink. And you start to see like from his perspective, like what is happening inside of his consciousness.
Yeah.
As he's being forcefully overtaken by this like light being.
Yeah, it's like peering into this thing's consciousness and mind, wherever that's actually located.
Like the camera work and the visual effects, visibly he starts like blurring. Like he's being absorbed by a black hole.
Yeah.
Like his physical body is like being like...
Oh, you're talking about when he's running away. But first we get that scene of the hole.
That's happening... What I'm talking about is happening when he's like eye to eye with the girl.
Oh.
And before he even gets pulled into the consciousness.
Yeah.
It's sort of fast and subtle, but like
Okay.
his body is disintegrating. Like it's being pulled apart by like essentially what looks like maybe a black hole. The well is shooting pink energy into the sky, which is connecting through a rift into deep space and like pulling energy from Earth into some other realm.
Yeah.
And then his consciousness shifts into like the perspective of some other planet. We see like weird geological structures.
Everything's covered in like moving life too, you know. It's
Yeah.
all like that weird like pinkish. It's almost a little more dull there too, like pinkish, orangish, reddish, brownish, you know.
And it looks like some sort of like if you were in like Big Bend, like West Texas, but everything was like pink and purple, it would look like that. Like the geological features is like these rock crevices and towers. Almost looks like a throne for like a deity.
Yeah.
Except there's no one there. It's just alive. And
Yeah.
our theory is that it's like essentially a shared consciousness that like absorbs all other life forms and just like spreads like a mold.
Yeah, just covering the surface of planets with life.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Destroying them.
basically
and
like a
making them-
virus or a parasite.
Yeah, exactly. And maybe we were seeing like the home planet or like the original source or something like that.
That's what I picked up from it, at least.
And this guy is able to sort of resist it mentally somehow, unexplained.
Yeah, super unclear.
He just resists. And then like he emerges out of this crazy visual effects sequence, which is just not describable. You just have to watch the movie.
It was one of the trippiest, coolest things I've ever seen. It had my jaw wide open for like the first like 30, 40 seconds of it. And then I just kind of sat back and just watched. Was like, oh my God.
Yeah. If you've seen Mandy, this honestly it kind of blows it out of the
Like
water.
a magnitude of 10, bro.
In
It's
terms
insane.
of visual effects and trippiness.
I thought that was like, Mandy was like, oh, this is one of the trippier movies I've ever seen.
I thought Mandy was peak.
Yeah.
Like cinematography and like visual effects and
Just so much higher level.
yeah.
Insane.
Wild shit. Kudos to Spectre Vision.
Yeah.
For pulling these directors and visual effects artists. Like
No
they've
shit.
got it going on.
No shit, dude.
When he emerges from the rubble of their house, the whole area is white. No color. I thought that was very cool after what we've been through with all this color and this pink, to finally have like black and white was jarring and trippy.
So
in itself.
strange. Yeah, just
Alien.
It really, because I mean, yeah, we were seeing just such a. I don't know if I've ever seen that much color on a screen before. You know,
Right.
like it almost seemed like the TV was having a hard time keeping up with the amount of just whipping pink tornado energy just reaching into space.
Yeah.
Ugh.
It's like you're so far gone on way too much ayahuasca
Sure.
that like you've lost the entire fabric of reality and you're
Yeah.
just seeing like trails of color and sound. You're just in space and like disintegrating.
Yeah.
It was that level of like psychedelic chaos.
Yeah, but eventually it pops. He made it safely under the house.
And the camera sort of starts to, it's like an above head shot, like an eagle eye shot.
Yeah.
And it starts zooming out and you start to see like a wider and wider area. And it's land, it's trees, but they're all white.
Devoid of color, just completely sucked out of it.
And it's zooming out. And finally you get this like sort of ring of green trees.
Yeah.
And you realize that this is essentially like a blast radius.
That's the perimeter of where it was.
Yeah. And it's like a nuclear bomb went off that sucked out all the color of this whole region. And I think that's literally what it was doing. Like the well connected into that rift through the atmosphere. And I think it was taking the color back to its home planet.
Which is crazy, because, like, is that insinuating that, like, color itself
Has energy.
has energy and, like, purpose? Like what the... Oh, my God.
I don't know, man.
I know. The light, everything to do with light in this movie. Like, what to take literally. I don't know.
That's the movie.
That is
That's
the movie.
That's the plot. You have one survivor,
Yeah.
and he's just sort of like smoking a cigarette, and he's grizzled, and he has a 1,000-yard stare. He's like, people forget what happened in the old times.
Yeah. I mean, and the hydro, or like the lake's built, the reservoir's built.
They did the reservoir
Yeah,
project.
over the top of all of that.
Yeah, and he's like, all I know is I'm not drinking the water.
Yeah, me neither, dog.
Okay, I want to talk a little bit about H.P. Lovecraft
Yeah.
and his literary movement and ideas.
Mm-hmm.
And then get into some of this stuff with like the horror genre and disgust, because it's
Definitely.
just so fascinating to me.
Yeah.
We looked him up because both of us are pretty ignorant about H.P. Lovecraft, to be
Yeah.
honest. Like, I know surface level shit from culture like Cthulhu.
Exactly. Tentacles.
Yeah,
You know, space, cosmic horror.
Space, cosmic horror. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know anything about him, really. We looked him up. He died young, 47,
46, but yeah.
46. He was born in 1890.
1890, and then, yeah, so then 1937, or 36 or whatever.
These
All
mov-
Rhode Island.
Yeah, that's probably where this took place.
Probably,
Rhode Island.
yeah. Providence, Rhode Island is where he was born and died.
He almost certainly inspired like all of Stephen King's thinking.
I mean, he's the father of all cosmic horror,
Yeah.
you know.
Even Stephen King does like supernatural stuff like
Yeah.
The Mist, and also like John Carpenter, like The Thing. Like all of these things where like the horror is just sort of intangible
Yeah.
atmospheres that like are scary and then like unexplainable. That's just all stemming from Lovecraft.
Definitely.
Whatever particular way the author manifests it, if the enemy or like source of horror is just the environment
Yeah.
and like an unknown energy,
Yeah.
that's Lovecraft.
For sure. And it's interesting, the cosmicism, which he invented, which is cool.
Cosmicism, a
Cosmicism.
literary movement.
Yeah.
I'll look it up so I can read the synopsis of Cosmicism
For
because
sure.
it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, Cosmicism is Lovecraft's name for the literary philosophy he developed and used in his fiction. He was a writer of horror stories that involve occult phenomena like astral possession and alien miscegenation. I'm going to need to look that word up.
Yeah, no idea. Miscegenation?
Yeah.
Word of the day, baby.
The philosophy of cosmicism is explained as the idea that there is no recognizable divine presence such as a god in the universe, and that humans are particularly insignificant in the larger scheme of intergalactic existence. The most prominent theme is humanity's fear of their insignificance in an incomprehensibly large universe, a fear of the cosmic void.
Yeah. I mean, and that's what this whole movie provokes that directly,
Yeah.
you know?
The entity is unexplainable,
Yeah. Good luck.
ununderstandable, and it really plays off of the limitations of like the framework of the human mind.
Yeah. I mean, and the framework of the human mind plus the framework of everything we know throughout what we've built, you know, Earth breeds a specific type of life. You know, we are all carbon based. We have rules, we have limitations. This stuff doesn't. We don't know.
We just don't know its limitations
Exactly.
or where it operates.
Yeah.
You know, with like visible light, we can see from red to violet. Anything that's infrared, can't see it.
Yeah.
Anything that's ultraviolet, can't see it. But there's a whole range of non-visible light that we can't see.
Like a lot more.
Yeah. And then the same is true of sound.
Yep.
There's a whole like sub-bass frequency range, which essentially it just, once you start getting into like the physical, like sciencey physics
Not just
descriptions of these
vibrations.
things, yeah, now you're just talking about like all of these things become interchangeable as just energy, because if you get bass notes that you can hear and keep going down an octave, the sound waves get so wide, you're essentially just creating tremors, like earthquakes.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I think that's how earthquake machines
You're
work.
just feeling now instead of hearing. So like your body and your ears are detecting the same energy at different stages. The same is probably true of light.
I'd imagine.
Like light is faster than sound. So our eyes are picking up energy at a higher frequency than our ears, at a higher frequency than our bodies. If you think of our bodies as like energy antenna, right? There's like a very small sliver of energy that we sort of like operate within.
Yeah, and we pick up on so little of it. And really, it's just our brains. It's not even like actually our body is, you know?
Just processing this stuff.
Yeah.
Anything that is happening outside of the physical framework of our sensory organs, we can't really think about it.
No, I mean,
Like a 4-dimensional object, we might understand as like time based,
Yeah.
like things changing over time. But like a 5-dimensional object, we have mathematical descriptions of them that are incomprehensible to like human logic. You
For
can't
sure.
actually like picture what a 5-dimensional
no,
object
you
would be.
need like computers to try and represent it.
It just becomes equations.
Yeah.
A 6-dimensional object, like, I mean, just forget it. Like,
Yeah.
I don't even know what we're talking about
No,
anymore.
definitely not.
So, like, if there's any form of life that exists in a 5th or 6th dimension, it could be like right here in the room with us.
For sure, it could probably
would
be
have-
here and somewhere else. You know.
Yeah, well, like this is what trips me up, because already if we talk about a 4-dimensional, we exist in time in a linear way, right? We
Yeah.
change over each moment, and we can move at a certain rate. But if you are a type of being that can move multiple directions in time, or like right, like you have
Instantly,
higher,
I'm just like,
yeah, I'm like, then you're talking about like not only where are they, but when are they? What would you even ask a being like that in temporal terms? Like, when were you born? Like the question wouldn't make sense.
no.
You start getting into shit like the speed of light and the theory of relativity and the relativity of the experience of time as a ratio of your speed towards the speed of light. The faster you move, the less time you experience. That's why they have like the twin experiment where you send one twin to space, they go half the speed of C, return to Earth. Everyone's dead.
Yeah, and aren't they a little younger? Which is
Not in the classical theory of relativity.
Okay.
They would experience time at a constant rate from their own perspective.
Got you.
That rate would shift relatively between different observers who are moving at a different constant towards the speed of speed.
Yeah.
So they can age at a different rate, or like perceive time differently. This is where you get concepts of like time dilation, like in the movie Gravity, where time is being manipulated or warped by like mass,
Yeah.
because mass is also dependent on speed, the velocity. Like if you have an alien species that is, like you said, maybe like a type 4 civilization,
Yeah.
that can power itself by consuming stars, for example.
Yeah. Full control of its own solar system, manipulate it to its will.
Maybe they move at 4/10 the speed of light
Sure. Which is
pretty consistently.
it's pretty fast, man.
They would be able to sort of like live a regular 100-year human lifespan, experientially speaking,
Yeah.
over the course of like 1 million Earth years.
For sure.
So when you try to think about alien life and you anthropomorphize these beings because it's all that we know about,
All we can do, really.
it's just such a failure conceptually to try to understand the universe.
Yeah.
It's just not working like that.
No, I mean, and it's also like very possible that some species out there, if there are living with our own sort of time perception and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But the full 180 could be anything out there in between. You know, we have no reference points.
And the thing is that, so we were talking about this too, the relative like temperatures possible in the universe up to like millions of degrees Kelvin. We are so close, relatively speaking, to absolute zero.
I know you blew my mind with that stat. What was it?
Absolute zero is negative 237 degrees Celsius.
That's not that cold, it feels like.
That's
But that's when atoms stop moving, right?
Time stops at absolute zero. Yeah, atoms stop. Like the thing about relativity is that time and movement and mass and energy are all the same.
Yeah.
It's an equation. So like you change one variable and it changes the others by force. So if you're at absolute zero, that means you have no motion, which means you have no energy, which means you are not moving and you're experiencing no change, which means you're experiencing no time. So it doesn't, if you're at absolute zero or you're at the speed of C, which is the speed of light, you exist in very different ways outside of time.
Yeah.
Either you're experiencing zero time changing, which means you're frozen in space and time permanently forever, which means like life has ceased for you.
Yeah. I mean, the perception would stop theoretically.
Yeah.
You know?
You're just done.
Yeah.
Or you're moving so fast that you're everywhere all at once. So time as a concept doesn't apply anymore.
Yeah.
Because how can anything change if you're experiencing all things all the time? Like all the time, it doesn't make sense.
No, for sure.
So speed of light and absolute zero are like opposite sides of the same coin in terms of removing time from the element of the equation. We are so close to absolute zero, like here on Earth, even when it's a hot summer day, like 85 degrees Fahrenheit, relatively speaking, compared to possible speeds and temperatures in the universe, we're basically not moving.
100%. I mean, if you're looking at any sun, anything, any like of the outsides of a black hole, it's moving so much infinitely faster than, not infinitely, but you know, metaphorically, so much faster than we are.
So what happens is you get these isolated pockets of different energy levels in the universe where like, if we're moving this slow and I send a message out, but someone else is just moving faster than us, like away from us or any other direction that's not directly towards us.
In our line of sight of that exact message that we sent out.
Yeah. Then it's never going to reach anything because it's starting so slow and we can't accelerate it fast enough.
Not to mention
currently,
not to mention we're sending it in probably radio waves or something like that. You know, you think this guy's gonna? You think he's got his fucking receiver in his truck?
Dude, so much of the Fermi paradox I think is just based on like not understanding how slow we're moving and how isolated we are. We're essentially like a backwater planet on the edge of the Milky Way, which is on the very far away from the center of our galaxy, right?
Yeah,
or of our what's bigger than a galaxy? The Milky Way is a galaxy.
The Milky Way is a galaxy, yes.
But there's a cluster of galaxies, and I forget the word.
It's a super cluster.
Yeah, the Milky Way is not close to the center of that, I'm pretty sure.
No, I don't think so. I mean, there's just so many different areas, too. I think we're pretty far away from where the Big Bang is supposed to have happened. We're pretty far out there.
Oh my God, don't even get me started on the Big Bang.
I know, okay. But yeah, I get what you're saying. I mean, we're on the sticks. We're
Basically,
in the sticks.
The message can't be received in either direction because of the variable rates that we're moving at. That if you're a type 4 civilization moving at some fraction of the speed of C, you're just like 1 million Earth years have passed and you haven't noticed.
Yeah, exactly.
You're just doing your thing. Like our little flailing attempts at getting like a message out, they don't even have to try to avoid us. They're just not going to get them.
No. I mean, and realistically, our thinking minds as humans have been around for max like 250,000 years.
Yeah.
Like very max is when they think we came out of the trees.
Maybe 100,000 of like Neanderthal level. So a blink when you're talking about light speeds and
nothing.
Space distances.
No time at all.
And so this is the type of shit that H.P. Lovecraft was obsessing over.
In 1900, dude. What are you talking about? That's insane.
And that's sort of the cosmicism, like the scale, the dysphoria you get from thinking about the scale of the universe. I want to get into anti-cosmicism, which is our new genre, because I remember from one of my classes in college that also, like, when you go down in scale and you start looking into cells, there's more space when you look inward, or at least as much.
Yeah.
But I think it's even more than there is looking outward. Like the size of the universe that we understand it to be, the observable universe,
Yeah.
is smaller relative to our human bodies than the size of our inner universe if we were to look in.
It's the space between every molecule and atom and everything.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
And that would mean like every single cell that you look in is a larger vastness than the whole universe looking out over and over. There's like billions of cells in my body alone.
Yeah, and within those cells and within the in-between space of molecules in your cells.
Just emptiness.
It's just empty. It's actually empty.
It's like magnetic waves.
Yeah. There's not dust. There's no space dust.
Yeah.
It's nothing.
Dust is very
Maybe
large.
Dark. Dust is huge.
The relativity of this shit is mind-boggling.
It really is.
Because we are so cold
Yeah.
and we're so big.
We're gods. We're gods of our own little universes.
H.P. Lovecraft will have you out here thinking you're small and insignificant, and I'm one of the biggest things in the universe.
Booty whiskey has big boys, okay?
You have big butt cheeks that contain magnitudes.
BBL whiskey.
BBL whiskey, BBL whiskey. Dude, huge.
It's so cool to think about. It's so provoking. This whole movie, everything that Lovecraft does, it was all so thought-provoking.
Yeah, and these sort of like, I don't know, like thought experiments or just like avenues of discussion, they're sort of prompted into your mind by force once you start thinking about things like this.
Definitely.
It's like a non-optional thought avenue. Like,
Yeah.
he gets you to think about it by invoking the sense of the Cthulhu creature, like this non-human life force. And once you start going down that pathway, there's just all these questions.
So many questions.
And they're all like possibilities. They're like logical, real possibilities that are in our actual reality.
Yeah, I mean, the sort of horror that Lovecraft invokes is so much more valid to me than like a supernatural film, you know, where it's just goose, you know, it's like,
Poltergeist or Jason.
That
and
shit
Michael
is so
Myers.
fucking, that's all human created. The shit that humans can't think of, that's the scary shit, dude.
The emptiness between our cells and the magnitude of like the cosmic microwave background. What's behind that?
Nobody, no. Does not compute.
The trippy thing about the cosmic microwave background, which is essentially like the edge of the observable universe, which is where they say sort of like the Big Bang transformed from being banging to having been banged. Yeah. Like things started coalescing into like
shit's not banging anymore,
plasma and matter and stuff. No matter what direction you look at from Earth into deep space, you see the CMB. So we're essentially in a sphere of observable light
that we know of.
But that CMB that you're seeing in a sphere represents a singular point in the past.
Yep.
So a center point has now become the outer wall. It's like our whole universe has been pulled inside out of its own skin. And when you look back in time, you see a singular point in all directions.
Yeah.
How?
Doesn't make sense.
Directionality is fucked.
Literally.
I forget the words for it because it's been a long time since I was in college. But there's a concept of like linearness. Like if you can travel in a line infinitely and never return to where you are, there's like a word for that.
Yeah.
But I think the idea of our universe is that it's not like that. Like if you travel in a line long enough, like you just end up where you started.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
That's sort of like what some of the implications of the Big Bang and the cosmic microwave background. Like we don't have a infinite directional universe like that. It's like a sphere.
That doesn't make any fucking sense to me, bro.
Me neither, dude. Our brains aren't equipped to handle these conceptual
Not
facts.
at all. Mine especially.
Okay, there's another philosophical idea I wanted to discuss.
Yes.
That's not sci-fi.
Yes.
It's moral. And I wanted to mention these books that I read in college. One is called Savoring Disgust, The Foul and the Fair in Aesthetics. The other is called Yuck, The Nature and Moral Significance of Disgust. I am going to reread these soon because of this movie.
Yeah, I would like to read one as well.
I recommend the fans who like philosophy and reading, not all of you, just some of you.
Some of you. Probably some of you.
Read those books. I can't remember which one it was, but they basically delineate between terror and horror. Terror is based on fear. Horror is when fear mixes with disgust.
That's such a cool deliberation. Like a cool...
Yeah.
I had never thought about that once before, you know, because I understand though now, because when I'm terrified, it is not... I'm not grossed out. I'm not repelled.
Right.
It's just I'm scared. I'm fearful.
Yeah.
But when I'm horrified, it's like a deep, guttural, primal feeling.
It makes you want to puke.
Yeah.
It makes you like have that taste in your mouth.
It immediately invokes change. You need to change something about the situation to make it not this.
Yeah. So the premise of these ideas is basically that disgust is a primal body response to things that are going to harm you, like poison or bacteria, like rotting meats is disgusting because if you eat it, you'll be hurt and harmed.
That's why it stinks. It all ties together.
Yeah, the smell of it, when you look at it, it looks gross to you. The reason that you have that gross response is because it's dangerous. We've co-evolved with these phenomenon long enough that our bodies have developed a physiological response to things that will harm you.
Yeah.
And that's essentially the description of disgust as characterized by these books.
Yeah.
Now, what's crazy is that all of those evolutionary traits would have developed much earlier than consciousness and thinking and morality.
Far earlier, when we were purely animals.
Right. Purely like just
survival.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not conscious. That's a great way to put it.
Unconscious beings. The idea posited by these books is that when we start to evolve our conscious minds, it is, I guess, more like economical to attach these new supervailing phenomena like morality onto pre-existing body structures, like disgust. So when you see something that is unethical, it tends to trigger your disgust response physiologically.
Unless you're a sociopath.
Exactly. And this part is not controversial. This is like understood by neuroscientists. That's happening.
Yeah.
Disgust response is triggered when you see immoral behavior. And the reason for that is because it's theorized that we've evolved and co-opted the disgust response for our moral judgments.
Yeah. I mean, it's really smart.
Yeah. It makes a certain logic, like a natural logic. It's easier than your body creating a whole new system.
Yeah.
From scratch. Sure. Like if calories are scarce, energy is scarce, you're surviving as a species. You don't have infinite energy to just be like, developing new organs
for morality.
Morality organ.
I need one of those, bro.
So morality co-opts the disgust response, and we have this connection now between feelings of disgust and immoral behavior in the sense that it's harmful for you.
Yeah.
I think it's really telling when people want you to do bad things to other people. The propaganda they'll use, the terminology, they'll always dehumanize. Trump keeps calling the immigrants vermin.
Yeah. God, I fucking hate
They're rapists shit. And they're drug addicts and they're vermin and we need to exterminate the threat. And
he always caps it off. But there's some good ones. It's fucking asshole, dude. Oh.
But this is not unique to Trump.
Of course.
They did this. You see it with the propaganda against the Jews in Germany. The depiction of them as having little horns and hook noses and being greedy little goblins.
Yep.
Like
the interesting flip side of that too is you're seeing that against Palestinian people now from the Jews, which is crazy.
Historical irony is in full swing right now in
No
Israel.
shit, man. No shit.
They did it to us.
Yeah, great.
Jesus Christ.
Great. Sure. Have full permission, my guy.
Yeah.
Fucking Christ.
This is the mechanism that's used by abusers. They dehumanize because when you're disgusted, it allows you to, or it not only allows, it sort of like compels you to act
Yeah.
in a certain way because we're hardwired through evolution to like eliminate the threat.
Yeah.
Like, the disgust is telling us it's dangerous.
Yeah.
So if I can trick you into just through repetition,
Yeah.
maybe
for
it's
sure.
not even a
exposure,
trick.
dude. Yeah.
If I can get you to start thinking about some type of person, it could be an individual or a group, but as disgusting. They're smelly.
Vermin.
Their behavior is gross.
Yep.
I can then get you to essentially throw away your moral behavioral rules as pertains to that individual.
Yeah.
Because that person is already, because they're disgusting, is outside of the moral framework.
Yeah.
Their existence is abhorrent. And I'm not a linguist, but I think the HOR prefix in abhorrent is the same one from horror.
Probably.
And I think it's meant to indicate like that sort of disgust towards something that you need to like remove right away.
You know, you talking about this brings up another movie in mind for me. Fucking Starship Troopers.
Yes, dude.
Yeah. The propaganda, the bugs, bruh. Kill the
A
bugs.
great anti-fascist film that unfortunately people unironically
God, I know.
love. Similar to like Bruce Springsteen's Born in the USA.
Do you want to see more?
Yeah,
I'd
it's
to
like-
see more.
You've missed the point.
Yeah, dude.
You're actually fascist.
This is a late this is a late fascism fucking capitalistic state that only cares about war.
If you watch Starship Troopers and you support the military exterminating the bugs,
Yeah.
you're a fascist.
Yeah,
That's the whole
seriously,
point
dude.
of the book.
Oh, Christ.
But yeah, they other them. That's essentially, well, no, it's a little different in Ender's Game.
Yeah.
In Ender's Game, he doesn't think they're real to begin
No,
with. He
for
thinks
sure.
it's a simulation, so
Yeah.
that's not exactly the same.
It's a good fucking movie and book, too.
Also cool sci-fi.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just thought it was really interesting the disgust element, how it pertains to morality, which affects behavior. Because in this movie, you've got the mom and the son,
Yeah.
and at the beginning of the movie, this is a loving family doing everything they can to save their mom from cancer, supporting each other. They want to keep these people alive.
Yeah.
The second that they get fused together,
She's literally like absorbing him, too.
they become viscerally repulsive.
Yeah.
There's no like necessary reason why they couldn't believe that they could save them. Like it's
Sure.
logically
Sure.
possible that like you could save this person.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is they're so disgusting in that state. It's
just-
like
it's so far from what they were. You know, it's such a long distance because I mean, like,
Yeah.
they fully devolved into something that they could not really even recognize as their mom or their brother.
I have to kill you.
Yeah, literally, it's better for you. It's better for me. So I
Like,
don't have to
you
look
used
at
to
it.
be my mom and son. Now you're an aberration.
Yeah.
And you will die.
Yeah, literally, and it was interesting that no real discussion was needed. It was all a look, just like
He's like,
okay,
I'm gonna handle it.
Yeah,
And
and
the
that's-
son's like, like
he's like-
realizing that he's right.
but he's right. He is right, and then he fucks it up.
Because he's possessed.
I know.
That was frustrating.
Yeah, no
I
shit.
wanted the catharsis of like the shotgun blow to the head, and I wanted that demon spawn to be taken care of.
And it is eventually.
It gets so much scarier in its final form when they return to the room.
Yep.
And it's had time to sort of like incubate.
Yep.
And absorb the kid.
and
It's
then it's like
crawling on like 6 legs like a fucking spider.
yeah, it looks like a weird fucking like the body just looks so strange. It's animalistic, but also clearly from a human. It's so weird, man. Buggy.
Body horror fucks me up.
Dude, it really gets
When I was
me.
a kid and I watched The Matrix and that
Yeah.
like bug goes in the guy's stomach
Oh.
in the belly
I know
button
exactly.
hole.
Dude, it's that one and it's the mummy, those fucking
The
scarabs. bro.
scarabs, dude. Subdermal body horror is my nemesis. To this day, one of my biggest fears is like leeches and ticks because I don't like the idea of something burrowing inside of me.
Leeches aren't that bad. They're very surface level.
They're in me. I don't want them in me. They're penetrating my barriers.
A little. I have a much harder time with ticks. And yeah.
If anything's going to penetrate me, it's going to get my consent first.
Yeah, right. Oh, fuck.
But yeah, man, this movie was certified horror, not terror.
Yeah.
And I really think that people should recategorize most of what we call horror movies
Agreed.
as terror movies because there's just not much discussed element in those movies.
No. And I mean, most fucking scary movies are just weak as shit anyways.
It's
dude.
just jump scares and spooky music.
Exactly. The music's carrying half of your fucking movie almost every time.
Yeah. And then just like slow shots of nothing happening with music playing. It's like
It's anxiety building. It's just fucking
barely filmmaking.
Yeah, man.
Not to hate on horror as a genre.
Of
I
course.
actually am a huge horror fan.
I love it too. There's just a lot of shitty ones.
Yeah, it's just easy to manipulate the human emotion.
This movie though,
Amazing.
I mean, truly, like it's one of my favorite movies I've ever seen. For sure. Like ever. But, I think that's just because I'm also such a sci-fi extravaganza, I love it so much.
This blended so perfectly horror and sci-fi.
And drama and suspense.
Family drama, as Nick Cage put it.
Yeah.
It's a really cool amalgamation of many things I like in cinema.
Gotta watch it. I'm gonna watch it again.
I'm gonna watch it again for sure.
I need a couple.
I'm glad Kaylin didn't watch it with us this first time. She would have been disgusted in the wrong way.
Yeah, not like
it's
us.
gross.
It is.
Like, it only is scoring roughly a 60% on most, like, critics' sites.
Yeah, 60 to 80.
I saw, like, a 6 point something out of 10 and then a 60% on Metacritic.
Damn.
And I get it because I think most people aren't built for this movie.
Yeah, it's rough.
It's rough,
it's
dude.
Dark. It really can. You get confronted by such, powerful ideas that can really. I bet they can really unsettle you.
Yeah. Well, and just the physical, visceral response to
that's the other side.
Gore and the disgust.
Yeah.
It's just you need a constitution to watch this movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if you think you have it, you should watch it.
And you should probably be listening to all of our other booty podcasts.
Yeah,
Booty Whiskey.
Podcast for
Booty
the win.
Podcast. Yeah, man. I think that cleared me out.
That's it, man. Next week, I can't wait.
Unbearable weight.
I can massive talent.
Dude.
Nicolas Cage, Pedro Pascal.
I can't wait to see that meme where he's the one smile he gives when he's driving. I can't wait, dude.
Well, all right, people.
This has been a pleasure. Very heady conversation today.
Yeah, I love you. Yeah. Goodbye.
Booty.
Remember, you are God.
Alien landed, commanded, colors demanded, water, unhealthy, Nicholas, wealthy, pink and purple, purple and pink, don't drink the water, purple and pink and purple, purple and pink, do not drink the water, purple and pink. Someone get a shotgun, mom is a chimera. Someone get a shotgun, little bro is a chimera. House, well, barn, shack, la, mama, kid drama, kid drama. Mama, kid drama. Pink and purple, purple and pink, don't drink the water. Purple and pink and purple, purple and pink, do not drink the water. Purple and pink. Someone get a shotgun, mom is a chimera. Someone get a shotgun, little bro is a chimera. Smell bar, shack, law, mama, kid drama, kid drama. Mama, kid drama. Pink and purple, purple and pink, don't drink the water. Purple and pink and purple, purple and pink, do not drink the water. Purple and pink. Someone get a shotgun and use it, and use it. Ooh.